and welcome to Communication in the Workplace. We hope that you find this presentation informative and can use the information given to sharpen your communication skills in your work environment. We will be discussing how and with whom we communicate, the problems that are associated with communication, how these miscommunications are occurring, as well as tips for effective communication. Towards the end of the presentation, there will be a few activities for your consideration. Let's get started. On a daily basis, we not only communicate with our staff, but with the consumers that we serve as well. This is done either face-to-face or over the phone or electronically. Workers report that technology is the most often used method for communicating at work. 61% report that email is their most used method, followed by the internet. 46% of these workers report that the information received via these emails either contain unclear or confusing directions. Being that email is one of the most often used communication tools, it is not a surprise that 43% of workers blame confusion and resentment in the workplace on email. The biggest pet peeve for these workers? Too many reply alls. Poor communication leads to total and complete misunderstandings. Now, these misunderstandings could be interpreted as harassment, discrimination, or exclusion. Poor communication also leads to procrastination, poor customer service, failed project delivery, greater incidences of work-related injuries, an ineffective management team, and higher employee turnover. Now let's take a look at a few examples in an effort to understand how these misunderstandings are taking place. A task is assigned to a group, but the group is unsure of who is responsible for which aspects of the task's execution. Some members of the team look to clarify their roles, while other members assume they know what is expected of them and proceed with their jobs. This example of miscommunication in the workplace derives from a lack of clarification of job duties. Employees need to be given comprehensive instructions with each task and need to be trained to get job duty clarification rather than proceed down the wrong path. Let's look at another example. Now, the way in which different people present information can cause a miscommunication in the workplace. If an employee who has a tendency to include unnecessary details in an explanation tries to relay information to an employee that only deals in essential facts, the core meaning can get lost. The person who is used to focused communication may not be able to find the meaning of the message because the person is providing too many details. The communicator may be simply trying to explain where a technical manual is located, but by adding so much information about the manual and the location, the receiver is not sure which core statement to focus on. Let's try another one. 2 employees are given instructions to move a new stock delivery into the warehouse. One employee may interpret these instructions as requiring the product to be put on the shelves, while the other employee determines that the product need only be placed in the warehouse off of the loading dock. Employees that misinterpret information can get caught in a cycle of workplace miscommunication. The company needs to provide detailed instructions along with training so that employees seek clarification of directions in order to cut down misinterpretation. Now let's look at a few tips for effective workplace communication. If you are in management, consider these next few tips when approaching staff. Consider the situation. Our emotions tempt us to make quick decisions based upon superficial evidence, which may not reflect the true nature of the problem. Gather and confirm information before making a decision. We have a tendency to confuse symptoms with disease, and consequently, we treat the symptom rather than the underlying illness. Observe your workers. Talk and listen to them about the aspects of their jobs. Focus on problems, not personalities. Whenever dealing with an issue that might have emotional content, the 24-hour rule should be in effect. Don't send any email, message, letter, memo, or report to others until you've had a day to reflect upon its content and are sure it communicates the facts and the tone that you wish. Manage individuals, not groups. Groups are perfect for providing general information, education, and praise. However, they should not be used for individual direction or criticism. Remember, praise in public and criticize in private. Meet subordinates face to face. The meaning and intent of written words without the context of a physical presence is often misunderstood and can lead to confusion and conflict. There is no substitute for looking someone in the eye and seeing their reaction to your conversation to clarify content and assure comprehension and agreement. Assign tasks directly and clearly. People work best when they know what is expected of them. Identify goals and measures in simple, understandable terms. Assign responsibility and confirm the information is understood by those to whom it is directed. If you're not yet in a management position, consider these tips and a promotion may follow. Do not personalize criticism. Don't be too sensitive or defensive when you receive feedback. Consider the information received as intended to get a different result, not a personal attack. Understand the situation. Constructive criticism is a part of a regular employee performance review designed to give both parties feedback. Use this opportunity to build your relationship and get information. Use a review as an opportunity to receive and give intelligence that might otherwise be missed. And most importantly, learn from your mistakes. Whatever stage of your career, you can and should continue to learn. With digital workplace communication, be aware of proper punctuation, capitalization, and message length. Text in all caps can be interpreted as shouting, while all lowercase can be seen as unprofessional. It is also important that your message is detailed and free of excess chatter. If your communication is more personal, then remember to be aware of your body language, tone of voice, and use of eye contact when speaking to others. How you articulate and emphasize words impacts how others interpret your message, and your posture determines whether others will pay attention to what you have to say. You could be saying more than you know. So stand up tall, speak from the diaphragm, and look your receiver in the eye. Now, being that the majority of workplace communication happens via email, remember 61%, think about the email that you're sending. Think carefully. Read and reread the message. Remove all unintended recipients. Be clear and concise with your message, and be sure to respond in a timely manner. Now let's take a look at an email between two coworkers on a very busy day. What's wrong with this email? Take a moment to rewrite it so that it's more appropriate. First, the email is in all caps, making the tone of the email very harsh. The sender appears to be frustrated, and it almost seems as if they're yelling at Brittany. This message could be taken personally, and at the end of the day, a complaint could be lodged against the sender. Now this message is a bit gentler and straight to the point. Now take a second and think about the way that we communicate at work. Think of an example where you were involved in a misunderstanding. Why did the miscommunication occur? What impact did it have? If you had the chance to do it over again, what would you do differently? It is easy for messages to be lost in translation, causing stress and impacting productivity. Whether in person or over technology, there is always a chance that you will be misunderstood or may cause offense. Hopefully, the information covered in this presentation will provide for a better working environment for yourself and your colleagues and lower the chances that you will be misunderstood.